Lawyers say they're representing 37 women who were raped or sexually assaulted by Mohamed Al Fayed, the late owner of the Harrods department store in London. They've also revealed that more have come forward after the allegations were made public in a BBC documentary yesterday. The legal team is now calling on the department store's new owners to help these survivors get justice. They say staff members working for Mr Al Fayed helped to enable and cover up his crimes. Well, let's go straight to our correspondent Azadeh Mashiri. She's been at today's press conference with those legal teams. And Azadeh, it was a devastating news conference in terms of content, wasn't it?
It was, and about 20 of the victims, potential victims, Matthew, were in that building listening to their lawyers outlining the civil case that they're bringing forward against Harrods for, in their words, failing to provide a safe system of work for their employees. Now, they say that that's partly possible to bring forward because of the network that the BBC investigation has exposed and the pattern the BBC's investigation has revealed of sexual abuse and predatory behaviour by Mohamed Al Fayed. Evidence gathered showed that Harrods not only failed to intervene at the time, but also helped cover up the abuse allegations. Now, the current owners of Harrods and Harrods itself have said that they're utterly appalled by these allegations, that they apologise to the victims, and they've set up their own process to settle these claims quickly so that the victims can avoid lengthy legal processes. But in terms of what was revealed at this press conference, the stakes are clear when you listen to one of the victims who was sitting at that podium. We're going to hear from her, Natasha, shortly, who joined Harrods when she was only 19 years old, saying she had no idea she was entering the lion's den. We also heard from Gloria Allred, a US attorney who's represented victims who've brought cases against Jeffrey Epstein and Harvey Weinstein, someone who really highlights the global nature of this story, given not only the fact that some of these cases happened in places like Saint-Tropez, Abu Dhabi, Paris, but also the fact that some of the women who are coming forward with their stories are also American, Canadian. There are various nationalities involved. Take a listen to what she said.
There are certain themes that emerge from the BBC documentary. Most of the victims were terrified and felt that they had no place to turn. They felt powerless and they feared retaliation. Their terror was reinforced by threats, surveillance, and phone tapping. It is also apparent from the documentary that many of the women were vulnerable and that Al Fayed took advantage of their vulnerability. He used his wealth and his power to manipulate and control female victims for his sexual pleasure. Another common theme was that Al Fayed's sexual misconduct was constant and repetitive and went on for 25 years that he owned Harrods. He was the epitome of a serial sexual abuser. Yet another theme was that Al Fayed's sexual abuse was not confined to the Harrods store. For example, sexual abuse occurred at the Ritz, Paris, and in his residence in Paris, which was formerly the residence of the Duke of Windsor. He required some female employees to accompany him on overnight trips to various locations, ostensibly for work, but actually to facilitate his sexual exploitation of them. Mohamed Al Fayed died last year at 94 years old. He died without ever taking responsibility for what he did to many of his victims.
Mohamed was clever and highly manipulative. He behaved like a father figure, often saying, "Call me Papa," often talking about his family and children as if to make me feel safe around him. He would ask kind and seemingly caring questions. He offered extra money for gifts to take home to my parents, or to buy new work clothes. It all seemed entirely innocent and normal then, a perk of working for such a powerful man. Unbeknownst to me, I had walked into a lion's den, a lair of cover-ups, deceit, lies, manipulation, humiliation, and gross sexual misconduct. The chairman preyed on the most vulnerable, those of us who needed to pay the rent, and some of us who didn't have parents to protect them. As time went by, I noticed more and more how strange the office atmosphere was. There was no camaraderie. It felt like a very secretive atmosphere. The other girls used to whisper to each other, but I was actively discouraged from making friends. I did, however, make a friend. We kept it very secret, Catherine, who sits in front of me today. From my dream job and high hopes, this then became my reality. Mohamed Al Fayed, a sick predator, lured me in by using the same modus operandi he used time and time again. I was subjected to an unnecessary and intrusive medical examination. I was never given those results. I was subjected to AIDS and STD testing without consent, and now believe in hindsight, I was checked for my purity. We would be sent to see Al Fayed because he had a job for us to do. It was always more of a friendly chat than actual work. But then these private meetings turned into more.
So why speak now? Well, for one, there's power in numbers. There's also the fact that Mohamed Al Fayed is no longer alive, and so some of the fear that these women have described is no longer necessary. But it's also the fact that, as Natasha, whom you just heard there, has said, these women feel empowered because she said this is a time where women no longer feel that they're the underclass of the working world.